Hey, what's up, guys? So, I literally just got back last week from what I pretty much could only describe as a whirlwind once in a lifetime. I don't know, maybe more than once in a lifetime, but probably the most amazing trip that I've been on in a long time. So, the family and I actually went to Orlando. We did 5 parks. Yes, 5 parks in 5 days. And it was a lot, but I have some tips and tricks. Hey, what's up, guys? So, I just came back from possibly one of the best but most tiring vacations that I have ever been on. We actually went to Orlando and we did a theme park. What I could only describe as like a whirlwind theme park vacation. Yeah, so pretty amazing stuff, and I just wanted to go through some tips and tricks and some stuff that helped me along with my vacation. And mind you, full disclaimer, this is not stuff that I figured out necessary for myself, but more like a compilation of advice from both family and friends who have actually been to the parks and stuff that I found extraordinarily useful. So if you forgive me, I'm actually gonna read from a huge list and a huge like I basically write out everything, and I have like a huge list for you. Which parks that we actually went to? So we went to Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, Disney's Magical Kingdom. We had dinner at Epcot and just basically did a walk around and Disney Hollywood Studios. Some general tips and tricks. Get a stroller. Now, Rai is 6 years old, and I saw kids even older than him in strollers being like pushed around. Now, why would I say get a stroller? Now, it's not that my son lazy and not anything, but it's a lot of walking. Like, pretty much every day, we ended up hitting 14 to 15,000 steps in the parks alone, and a lot of hot sun, a lot of back and forth. Aside from that, we walked not just with the stroller, we actually walked with water to the park, and my husband had his backpack and I had like a little sling bag in front. My sling bag was mostly for like things like extra pair of glasses because I wear contacts when I go to the parks, my wallet, and any little trinkets that I tote, like, hand sanitizer and things like that. Mark had the backpack, and in the backpack we actually packed things like raincoats, like especially ponchos for me, Rai, and Mark. We packed a change of clothes for Rai, and general, just stuff in there that we thought we would need through the day, even things like antihistamines and things, because we both doctors and we both very paranoid about stuff for Rai. So with the stroller, what I would say is that what we did is that we actually ordered a stroller and sent it to the hotel that we were staying at. And the stroller probably cost about 50 US. We shipped it to the hotel because at the parks itself, so especially if you plan on doing more than one park, at the parks itself, the stroller, the rentals go from anywhere from like 40 to 50 US a day. So essentially what you could do is you buy the stroller, 50 US, you have it for like all the days that you're there. You could use the stroller when your child get tired. You could use the hang bags and then when you purchase it, and generally as like storage. So it's pretty awesome. One thing that I saw that people had who actually like covers for the strollers, because if it rains and you park your stroller up, it could get wet, and then your child has to sit down on a wet stroller for the entire day. Not really something that's the greatest thing in the world. So if you get a cover for the stroller, always a good thing. The other thing is that people might be concerned, because that was a concern of mine. What exactly are supposed to do with the stroller when, like, if the whole family want to go on a ride? The truth of the matter is, I don't mean to exaggerate, but Disney and like Magical, like Universal, etc., pretty much there's like stroller parking, or stroller parking is pretty much like to the side of the rides, right? Like outside, just randomly you'll see like a sign of stroller parking, or you might see people parking up their strollers in a particular place. You could leave anything, like pretty much anything in the stroller. I mean, obviously I feel like walk with your wallet, and then because I'm a little too paranoid to just leave stuff in my stroller and just walk off. But you could pretty much park the stroller up, walk away, go to your ride, come back after, your stroller gonna be where it is. Other key point I would say is one thing we didn't do. Find a way of marking your stroller so that it's a little unique, so that when you glance, you can actually identify exactly which one is your stroller. Why I say that is, especially in Disney, you have like you don't have as many areas for stroller parking as in Universal, and so you just end up with like rows and rows and rows and rows of strollers, right? So you could park your stroller in what you think is the second row, and then like 20, 50 people after could park the strollers behind you, and you'll lose your stroller. So if you have an easy way of identifying your stroller, it will save you time in locating back your stroller when you finish your ride and you're ready to go again. Pack water. So when you go in, I would say pack a couple bottles of water. We probably had about 3 1-liter bottles with water that we basically just left in the stroller, and that way you could sip on it. They have refill stations. If the other thing I would say to pack is snacks. Now, especially coming from Trinidad, the snacks that we have here is not really what the kids necessarily would be accustomed to when they go abroad. For Rai, Digestive Bites was like a real hit. It don't really melt in the heat, and it was a quick, easy fill-in snack for him, like in between rides and in between stuff to munch on between like meals and all that. So at Universal itself, they actually have a lot of different types of containers that you could buy, which obviously have like different characters, and you can actually get like you fill this up. They fill this up with popcorn. So fill it up with popcorn there. You could close it back up as a lanyard that you could actually hang around your neck. The eyes is move, and he's actually talk. So he's actually talk at some point, but all right, he don't want to talk first. But the whole point is he could actually talk, and it's kind of cool, and you could get free popcorn. I think, I'm not sure if the refills, we didn't actually refill it, to be honest. We bought it on the first day, and apparently Rai really wanted popcorn, but then after he had the entire container of Minion popcorn, he was pretty much done with it. But it's a pretty good cool souvenir, I'll say that. They have a lot of different types of containers, like, you know, Jurassic Park ones. I feel like I saw a Lilo and Stitch one in Disney. So pretty much all the parks have these little keepsakes that we take away, like, you know, for popcorn. And then there are also like these cups, these really cool cups. We didn't opt to buy any because it's like free refills on soft drinks throughout the day. They have like stations in Universal, like throughout Universal, and I believe Disney has them. No, just Universal, and Islands of Adventure. But it's like these Coke and like soda refill stations. A little excessive, is a lot of Coke and soda, but you know, people opt to buy that, and it is more financially feasible, I suppose, to just buy a cup and you refill it for the entire day than buying a ton of soft drink for the rest of the day. But we didn't really want to opt for that option because I was trying to cut down the amount of soft drink that I actually intake. So I said, pack snacks, pack sandwiches. If you could pack something that the kids could snack on, because the thing is, the way the rides are, Universal, you have a little bit more leeway between rides, but Disney, sometimes the way the timing that you get the rides, and I'll explain this later when I'm actually talking about Disney specifically, the way you can get the rides, the timing for lunch might be a little off. So what I would suggest is that if you pack especially like a little sandwich or something, that'll be really good for the kids. The food in the parks are not the best, all right? You're gonna get a lot of fried food. To be honest with you, in Universal, in the Jurassic Park world, we actually get some pretty good food, as in like roasted chicken and beans and all that. But generally, as a ballpark rule, you're probably just gonna end up with like fries and pizza and, you know, chicken fingers and chicken sandwiches and the cliche stuff. So mentally prepare yourself for that. And yeah, sunscreen. It is hot as hell. We went in November, and there's a lot more sun than you're accustomed to, so make sure and walk with sunscreen. Walk with comfortable sneakers, something with good socks. The first day, I just wore my normal boat shoes, and boy, by the end of that, like, my toes were killing me. So walk with a good pair of sneakers, like, you know, change your clothes out of your case, and ponchos. If you buy the ponchos, especially on Amazon, they're easy to throw over if it have like some rain, because I've been honest with you, rain is stopping nothing in them parks, alright? Like, unless it's like a torrential downpour, if it's like a sprinkle of rain, you don't want to just be standing up in the shelter just waiting on the rain to stop falling, because you're kind of wasting your time in a sense. So get the ponchos. Advisable, buy them on Amazon before you go to the parks, because obviously it's going to be much more expensive at the parks. Other thing I would advise, unless you want this as a keepsake, get yourself some lanyards, because at the park, so we got this, we didn't realize, in Universal, they have what's called a fast pass, and even in Disney, if you get the the lightning lane. You're gonna get like a card that you actually have to swipe in, right? And Universal is the same kind of thing, right? When you go to the parks, they sell really cool lanyards, yeah, definitely. But you're gonna have to buy the lanyard part, which is like 14 to 20 US depending. And then this little pouch to actually keep the card in, because the card's not punched. So it's like a solid card that you had to slip into the pouch. And this pouch is like 8 US in the parks. So somehow, so this is the Disney one. Somehow, I suspect if you actually buy it on Amazon before, unless you want the keepsake, but you could probably buy, I would say, if you want the lanyards, because they have some real cool lanyards. Mark got the Minions one. I got a Jurassic Park theme one. What I would say is you could probably even buy the pouch on Amazon, like a couple pouches on Amazon, and that way you could buy the lanyard and just clip it onto the pouch. So that'll save you a little bit. Get lanyards or these pouches for each individual person that's gonna have a fast pass, because it's very inconvenient. It's easy to say I'll store a couple of them into the pouch, but after a while the pouches tear, and then it's make it a little difficult to take it out and just, when you want to quickly take it out and swipe it, etc. Definitely consider that, right? So let's go into the parks themselves, all right? Some little tips and tricks and some stuff I just wanted to point out about the parks themselves. We did Universal and Islands of Adventure. We got the 2 parks 2-day tickets. Forgive me, I had to read this from earlier, right? And we basically did the parks like 1 day each. 1 day was Universal, 1 day was Islands of Adventure. The other thing that I would say when you do the 2-park 2-day pass is that you could actually use the Hogwarts train, the Hogwarts Express, to go back and forth between the 2 parks. And what's kind of cool is that if you take it from Universal to Islands of Adventure and Islands of Adventure to Universal, it's actually 2 different experiences, I should say. It's pretty cool, definitely worth the while. So I would say consider the 2-park 2-day. Now, this part is tricky. The fast pass. Now the fast pass is expensive. It's probably the cost of the damn Universal ticket itself. All right. With respect to the Universal fast pass, it does have a benefit, obviously, but it's not as good as the Disney fast pass. So I'll explain why when I get to the Disney fast pass. But with respect to Universal fast pass, if it is that a ride, probably gonna like the popular rides especially. And by the way, apparently now the next 6 weeks, so like November around here, this is considered their peak season. I did not know that, but apparently this is their peak season. With respect to the fast pass, it will decrease your wait time for the rides, but not eliminate it. Why I say that is that if a ride probably gonna take about 3 hours, it will probably take about 1 hour. So the fast passes cut the line, but you still end up in a line in a sense, and that line could take a while. We were in lines for like 90 minutes something with a fast pass, all right, especially things like Escape from Gringotts and things like that. But honestly, if you're going with kids, waiting a 3-hour line is not an option. So I would still say if you can afford it, consider getting the fast pass. It will help, all right. Right, highlights at Universal. All right, so Rai is not a big theme park person, all right. He doesn't like things that he thinks is risky. So this is me with a 6-year-old who is not big into the thrill-seeking rides. With that said, I know it have kids who like love this. In fact, I went with my nephew who's like a full year younger, and he was all like, woo, and Rai was like, no, I'm gonna die. So just note, this is just my experience, right? The E.T. ride was a hit, all right? Honestly, it's a nice experience even as an adult. It's just so chill and serene and cool. Minions ride was fun, both of them. There are 2. There's one with the villains where you're like going through like in this what is it called, like a moving tram. So you standing up there and you're shooting. So it's a nice fun activity. And then there's the Minions ride itself where you're sitting on a chair and it's like a simulation. That one was real cool. I enjoyed those. Transformers, whew. As expected, Michael B. Transformers was slightly traumatic. Needless to say, Rai was screaming, saying that, oh my god, this is the worst idea in the world. It's a bit much, all right? It's loud, flashing lights. is actually like a mini roller coaster with simulated screens, a lot of jerking back and forth. If your child not into the loud jerky stuff and they're not into the boom flash bang transformers, they're probably gonna scare them a bit. Diagon Alley. That was where I was not a fan of Diagon Alley. He not big into the Harry Potter, to be honest. I waited a little while before I introduced him, so he wasn't really keen. And as we know, Diagon Alley a little dark and spooky. There is the dragon that is awesome. The dragon I feel like 10 to 15 minutes is actually blood fire. So you just see people like standing up there like staring like. So it is cool, alright? The dragon is cool. Escape from Gringotts. I went on a ride myself. Where I was not into it. Even the walk up to the ride was pretty cool because you actually get to go into Gringotts itself and see all the little animatronic the characters. It's just overall is quite a ride, alright. It's a simulated ride, but you're actually on a mini roller coaster. Extremely cool ride. Definitely, if you're into that kind of thing, definitely go and check it. Now, there are wands for sale. People tend to go to Ollivander's, that's in Hogsmeade in Islands of Adventure. But there are various wand shops that you could actually purchase wands. And even like throughout Diagon Alley, and when you go across to Hogsmeade after, they have like little medallions on the ground, and the kids could actually, do the little spell and it's actually do things like cast out water and things like. So it's an overall cool experience. The Jimmy Fallon, now of course I say in these rides, not in the order necessarily that we went in there, but the Jimmy Fallon ride was surprisingly cool. It was like a mini, like they could have named that a Hot Wheels ride and it would have suited perfectly. The Jimmy Fallon ride was extremely fun. Rai had an extremely good time on that. Trolls roller coaster, shockingly fast for a roller coaster that looked like all pink and fruity. I really didn't expect it to be like that. Simpsons was an extremely good ride. Again, it's a simulated ride. All in the cartoon world of The Simpsons, but this is mind-blowing what they could do. Right, so that's pretty much, we didn't go on all the rides not by a long stretch, obviously because I have a 5-year-old, but that's mostly the rides we hit, and we had lunch in between and whatnot. Now, the next day, what we did to actually get both the experience, because we didn't take the Hogwarts Express the first day. The first day, we waited until like 5 p.m. and the line for the Hogwarts Express was probably about 3 hours long, so we were like, that's not working today. So the second day, we entered at Universal and took the Hogwarts Express across the Islands of Adventure. So that was pretty cool. We landed up in Hogsmeade, and that's an amazing environment. It was really cool. If you want to try Butter Bay, I myself I'm not a fan of it, but it just like is picturesque. You just get immersed into the world of Harry Potter. So good. But we did not do any rides there. They had a lot of roller coasters. They had like the Hagrid's Adventure, which I lined up for, truthfully. I left Mark and Ryan and I lined up for that, and then realized that they didn't have a lightning pass option. And aside from that, the line itself was probably about 2 to 3 hours long. So that was a no-go for me. The Hippogriff Adventure looked cool. I have heard kids go on it, but my son was done with roller coasters after Troll. And I saw the castle. I think it was a lot of years ago. I actually did the Hogwarts, the castle itself, that ride. So I didn't bother to go because the line again was pretty long. So we just kind of took some pictures, walked past Hogsmeade, and then went into Jurassic Park. Oh, the entrance is just, you just feel like you're just going into Jurassic Park. Now, we went into this, I guess like a store, and it had like a food place and all that. And there they actually had like huge dinosaurs that you could take pictures with. Rai enjoyed it. They had little interactive games where you could read like what's inside an egg. It was cool, right? Thoroughly enjoyed that part of it. Took some pictures, and then we convinced Rai to go to the Raptor Escape ride. Not the best idea because that ended pretty much in tears. Rai screaming and me trying desperately to both hold on to him and cover his ears. It's probably enough for a little children because I'll be honest, it started off real chill and picturesque, and by the end of the ride, it's like glaring alarms. You have a huge T-Rex coming out at you, and like a massive drop. Like I'm not exaggerating, it was massive, and even me as an adult was like, oh crap, today's the day I die. But it was good. It was so good. ride enough to feel the same way and share the same experience. I think that's one of those rides, if you sit in the wrong place, you're gonna end up actually getting a little bit wet. They are drying pods that probably cost like 7 to 8 US each. Like, it's this massive blower that's actually blowing you, and it supposedly dry off. But to be honest with you, the place was so damn hot. We just get little sprinkles of water. We just walk around. That was perfectly fine. We went to the Marvel Zone, which is pretty awesome. They have like a ton of comic books, and you could actually meet the characters. There they actually have like all the rides, like Hulk and Doctor Doom. Did not bother because I think I went on Hulk the last time I actually went to Islands of Adventure. Dr. Seuss Land, I feel like that was the win. As you realize, we didn't do many rides in Islands of Adventure, and truth be told, I'm not too sure if like Islands of Adventure is a very good place for kids, because there are a lot of roller coasters. I feel like it's more geared towards like older kids and adults, right? So Dr. Seuss Land, though, that was huge. That was amazing. You just get so immersed. They had all the chill rides. You have this train that shockingly is high. It's like taking on this tour of Dr. Seuss Land. But it was very, very nice. Rai could have stayed a whole day in Dr. Seuss Land, given the choice. And then they have like all the candy, and it was good. Definitely recommend Dr. Seuss Land. Now let's move on to Disney now. So we went Epcot for dinner. I am lucky in that my cousin actually works at Disney, so she took us to Epcot for dinner. The parks that we did otherwise was Magical Kingdom and Disney Hollywood Studios. Now both of them use this My Disney Experience app that I'm going to put up here. This app is literally your lifeline. All right, make sure, one of the things I forget to post in the beginning, make sure you get data for your phone. I would recommend, especially if you're gonna go Disney and multiple Disney parks, make sure you have at least 10 gigs of data. Well, 10 gigs should be more than enough, alright? I bought the 5 gig plan. I was very paranoid that it would run out, right? Because you're pretty much gonna be on your phone for a lot of the time in between rides, trying to book, not only trying to book rides, but within the app itself, when you book a ride, it actually will show you directions to get to the ride. Now, like I say, there is Wi-Fi throughout Disney. So I guess you could take the chance, but I a little paranoid because I don't want to get trapped in Disney and not able to book my rides without, having data. Now, why I say book your rides, let me explain that a little better, right? There is something called the Lightning Lane Pass. Now, there's a multi-pass, or there's where you can do one ride at a time. What the multi-pass allows you to do is that you're allowed to book 3 rides at a time. All right, so for instance, 1, 2, 3 rides you book here. As soon as you check in, so you see they have check-in times that you have to check into the ride. So anywhere between, for instance, 10 and 11, you could go to check into this ride, which means 10 o'clock you could actually check in, swipe your Disney Pass card. So thing, you swipe it in, and once you swipe in, it registers that you checked into the ride, right? It opens up in the app. So where you had 3 things there, you're allowed to book 3 at a time. It'll open up and you're allowed to book 1 to follow the other 2 that you have booked, right? So what you want to try to do is that you want to keep booking rides, sequentially, So as you check into one, you book the next one. What that means is that you're going to spend a fair amount of time on your phone. You're always going to have this kind of rush, like, all right, we need to get to this one now. But I feel like for me, it was my first time going back to Disney after a lot of years, and my first time using the app. If you have a little bit of experience with the app, it'll be smooth, because by the time we went to Hollywood Studios the next day, we were a little bit more relaxed with respect to the app, how to book things. But Magical Kingdom felt like such a rush. Now, what I wanted to explain with the Lightning Lane Pass for Disney, it works amazingly, all right? If you book a ride, so whereas in Universal, it cuts down your time. In Disney, the Lightning Lane, because I suppose they have a certain number of people that could book per time slot, it completely eliminates the time frame that you're actually waiting for. This pass is significantly cheaper. It is like about 30 US for the multi-lane pass per person. So, it is much, much cheaper, and it works. So if it is that you have 10 to 11, you have a ride booked and you reach there at 10, you just had to count factoring the time of the ride itself. And you could actually, within that same time slot, if you have a next ride nearby, you could probably make that next ride nearby, because you don't have to wait in a line. You basically just end up walking straight into the ride itself. So it works. The Disney one, a little bit more stress, but it works. The other thing I would say about the Lightning Lane passes, now I went with another family, right? So it was me, Mark, and Rai, and then the other family, which also had 3 people, right? We didn't realize, and we actually got the passes on 2 separate devices. So I had my set, my friend had the next 3 sets of passes. Downside to that, all right, when we booked and we tried to book rides, one set of rides was coming up at a certain time and he was getting a different set of rides on his phone. So we actually could not book rides together, which sucked because you go in Disney and you end up, because the way the rides are, you go one way and the other set of people have to go the other way. So what I would suggest is, if it is one person could have all the tickets on one app, one person, you could actually check in all the people and book all the rides on one phone, so everybody gets the same timing for the Lightning Lane passes. That was something we didn't realize and it sucked. The other thing with the Lightning Lane pass is that I feel like 2 to 3 days before you could book your rides. We didn't know that, so we bought the Lightning Lane pass the day before we actually went to Disney, Magical Kingdom. What that meant was that the first set of rides we were getting was starting like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. And I mean, like, we ended up having to line up for one of the more popular rides, and we actually missed 1 or 2 of the rides that were recommended that was supposed to be cool, but we could not get the Lightning Lane passes for those, and the lines for those were like 2 to 3 hours long, so we didn't really bother to do those rides. With that said, we still managed pretty well, and we still managed to get through a lot of rides. I will tell you which rides that were amazing, right? So all the Disney rides, I think, pretty age appropriate for kids, right? For Rai, like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. Now Peter Pan, if you could get a multi-lane Lightning Lane pass for that, definitely try it. For us, it was booked out and we opted to line up, which was painful. We waited for about an hour and a half, I feel, in the line. And I mean, it was really cool. It was not at least in the sun, like hot sun kind of thing, but it was a little tiring to have a 6-year-old in a line for an hour and a half. I mean, the line keep tripping forward, you keep moving, but it was a little painful, all right? But the ride itself, amazing. It was pretty amazing. I've heard Jungle Cruise was good. We couldn't go. Pirates of the Caribbean, that was one of the first rides we did, and I'll be honest, like, lead up to it were real spooky, but chill. Like, you're floating in a raft and it's kind of like, it's a small world. I don't know if you know it's a small world, but you're floating in a raft and you're seeing all the pirates going on around. Real chill ride, cool experience. Didn't bother with Haunted Mansion because not into that kind of thing. It's a small world, extraordinarily chill. Get a Lightning pass for that because it's take long. Little Mermaid, if you're a fan of Little Mermaid, you basically get the whole story of Little Mermaid while floating along in this kind of conch shell, and real cool. Good music. The animatronics are amazing. Like, it actually look real. Like, you'll be watching and be like, crap, that's really Ariel, that's really Ursula. Amazing. Barnstormer is a roller coaster, but it looked good, but that one was booked out. I was going to go on that by myself. Tron, I heard is amazing, but that again was booked out by the time we went. Again, that was a ride I was going to go by myself. Seven Dwarfs, that is a pretty epic open air roller coaster. I saw kids line up for that, but it looked real fast, so I wanted to go, but again, couldn't get through. The Mad Hatter Tea Party, I feel like that was one of our favorite. Rai basically had won us. He's like, I'm gonna real mash all you up. He enjoyed himself with that. And the Tomorrowland Speedway, I feel like those two were like hands down 2 of the favorites. The Tomorrowland Speedway, you actually get to drive, and Rai was like, oh my god, I'm winning all the races. He had a perfect time and he enjoyed that thoroughly. He was a little badass driving around. You had to look out for the times for the parade. I feel like it was like 3 p.m. and I can't remember the other time. We missed the parade because we were in line for Peter Pan, and after spending an hour in the line, I was like, nah, I'm not moving from this line. We ate at Pinocchio Village, the house, H-A-U-S, and that was good. I had like fries, Mark had like pizza, Rai had like chicken and chicken fingers, but that was cool. The nice thing with all the Disney stuff is that you could actually do everything, like I say. You could order in person, but you could actually order through the Disney app. And the good thing is that you could say exactly what time you're gonna be there, and when you reach, so you have a time slot between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. When you actually reach, you could click a thing saying, I'm there, make my meal now, and they'll make your meal fresh, and it like that. So the app works perfectly. You can pay through the app, and it makes your life significantly easier than actually going and lining up and waiting, because it's be real, it's a lot of lines. The pretzels are terrible. Maybe it's just me, but the pretzels was damn hard. The cheese is the American cheese, which we not accustomed to. Not fun, and it's like 8 US, and we ended up dumping, like after 2 bites, we ended up dumping the damn pretzel. Hot dogs are all beef, so beware of that for us Hindus who don't eat beef. So yeah. Right, so that's most with Disney, right? With respect to Epcot, we went there for dinner. Like I say, my cousin working in Disney, so I get the privilege, I get my cousin to take me. We just kind of cruise through Epcot for dinner. It is very chill. There are some rides I didn't really get. We just do one kind of thing, one in the Mexican area, which was just basically a tour. Funny story, the animatronics and the music kind of went halfway through the damn thing, so we was just kind of moseying along, watching the animatronics kind of move in this kind of silent, creepy way. But dinner was excellent, and it was cool. We did not stay for the fireworks because my son is not a fan of fireworks and the loud noises, so we kind of bust out by 8:30. The fireworks show was supposed to be at 9, so we escaped from there. Thank God I didn't buy a ticket. Disney Hollywood Studios. Oh, right, so this is where I got to do the Star Wars theme park. They went all out. Now everything in Disney and Universal and everything, you feel like you're immersed in the world. But the Star Wars one in particular, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a Star Wars nerd. That's probably what it is. Now, as I said, I was a little bit more used to using the app by then, so I didn't feel as pressured with respect to booking rides and things like that. The things we did. Now, this park, first of all, is not as big as Magical Kingdom. Oh, one of the things I meant to mention, when you're booking rides, try as best as possible to familiarize yourself with the app. Especially for Magical Kingdom, try as much as you could not to book a ride on one side of the map and then you had to go to book the next ride, on the next side, because there's a fair amount of walking that you're going to do. I mean, well and good, you could get some rail steps in, but it's get a little hot and tiring and you just get a little fed up going back and forth. So as much as you could, if you have the luxury of time, try to book your rides where you book rides in a particular area at a certain time. We did not get the opportunity again because we booked kind of last minute with even with respect to Hollywood Studios, but Hollywood Studios is a lot smaller than Magical Kingdom. So we did the Disney Junior dance along. Right? I love this. Now he loved to dance, he liked the music, he liked characters. This was cool. This was real chill. This was cool. After that, we went down to the Star Wars area and we did Smuggler's Run. It's a simulated ride. You actually have like C-3PO in the front of the thing, and he was driving. Now, lucky for me, not lucky for Rai. Most of the times we went on simulated rides, for some reason we got the front seat. And the front seat, when you sit on the front, is just you on the screen, and it's a lot more realistic when you don't have anything between you and the screen. So, poor fella, he unlocked a new scream, shed a few tears, but he walked out and he's like, that wasn't bad. So, we didn't quite traumatize him. Yay. We did Star Wars Smuggler's Run, which again, you actually fly in a plane. Now, this one was cool. He was a little bit more distracted in this one because what they did, you have a crew of like 6 people. 2 people are going to be pilots, so you're actually flying. 2 people are the gunners, and me and Rai were the engineers, where you basically had to press buttons and make sure your plane don't crash. So he had a good time, I feel like, because he was a little bit distracted with pressing the buttons and trying to keep us alive. We did Star Tours. Did I mention this already? But anyway, yeah, Star Tours was cool. Muppets Vision 3D it's like a show. I would say Disney Hollywood Studios had a lot of shows. Amazing. You had like Statland Waldorf up there. You had the Swedish Chef. It's a 3D vision thing. The seats don't move, you're just sitting down there, but the 3D works pretty well and it was cool. I mean, we love Muppets, right? And then we went to the Frozen Sing-Along, which I feel like was the highlight of the entire Disney Hollywood Studios for Ride. It was cool, like it was a show. They basically summarized in a very comedic way the entire Frozen show. They had the songs playing, they had the mutiny, the words up, and then the end Elsa came out and there was snow. there was actual snow. It was so good. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot more rides there, to be honest. Had an Indiana Jones ride and whatnot. But I wasn't too much into those things, so I mean, I didn't bother to, go. I figure we'll go back another time later on in life, probably when he's about, I don't know, 9, 10, and get to hit some of the other rides, a whole different experience. But that was pretty much it. We did like one day of shopping in between, and yeah, so generally we got to the parks, I would say probably about 9 by the time we got up and had a relaxed breakfast, and then we ate breakfast in the hotel and went to the parks for about 9, and then we left the parks, I would say about 5. Like, truth be told, maybe if you have an older child, you could consider trying to stretch them out and stay for longer, but by 5 o'clock I feel like the kids were at their wits' end, and I was too. I had enough. Like, I was just like, I am tired. One of the things we did that I could probably mention is that we actually washed clothes at the hotel itself. Probably not we actually bought little Tide Pods from like Walgreens, and the hotel that we went to, it actually had a washer and dryer, so you didn't have to pack as much clothes, and it would kind of help you even when you're leaving. So I think the wash your clothes was probably like $4 or $5 US at most for like a whole load, and same thing to dry it. So I feel like it's well worthwhile. You fling your clothes in, you wash it and dry it. You necessarily don't have to walk with like a ton of different clothes, and if it is you're staying for a long period of time, you can actually wash your clothes before you come back, so that you don't have like a ton of dirty clothes to deal with. For people in Trinidad, because of our issues with credit card and forex, etc., I would suggest you book the parks. You can book your parks way in advance. So what we did, the trip was in November. We paid for one park in March, then we paid for the next sets of parks like in April. So that way you kind of stretch things out, and I ordered stuff that I needed online and shipped it to the hotel that we were staying at. We stayed at a hotel for the first 4 days of the vacation, and then my family for the next 3 days of the vacation. So I would suggest you order stuff online. You could ship it to your hotel. Most hotels will actually hold the stuff for you, so you could ship it, and that way you save yourself on some shipping and online tax. Yeah, and as much as you could, I mean, yeah, it's cool to buy stuff in the parks, but if you could walk with some of this stuff, you could save yourself on a lot of little expenses in between. If your child is like mine, who is obsessed with stuffed animals, which Rai is, we ended up with a lot of stuffed toys. That's just some. What we did that helped is that we actually ordered these vacuum seal bags, and we bought one that actually came with a vacuum sealer, like a mini vacuum sealer, and that's just like smushy stuff toys right there. So it's make transporting them back a lot easier. In fact, we bought some Legos, and I'll show you. We actually vacuum sealed the damn Legos, because the boxes that these Legos came in, they was huge. It was pretty much one of the boxes was taken up like the whole suitcase. So that was a no-go. So we ended up opening up, we separated all the packs and things, make sure we have the right booklet with the right set. And I just put one set per vacuum seal bag, obviously, because I don't want to mix up things. But yeah, we vacuum seal even that, even some of the bulkier clothes, the ends. All the park prices, I mean, you could find out online. I think these constantly be changing, so I don't want to quote prices. I could just generally give you ballpark figures. Yeah, okay, so that's it. I'm done. Ask me any questions you want in the comments, and I hope this was helpful. Laters.